And it's time for some good old anti-Tesla FUD again from our beloved mainstream media. Fads say Tesla exaggerating Model 3 crash test results. So what's behind this FUD?
Then we have a new startup from China who recently unveiled a pretty insane looking electric SUV. In other news, Leno went full berserk on EVs, which we think is pretty cool.
So there's almost no reason to have a gas car.
And Tesla Gigafactory 3 is being added to the Shanghai Free Trade Zone. A new Tesla patent the Tesla solar roofs and the Megapack. So stay tuned for this exciting news. Well, we missed those good old FUD stories spewed out by the mainstream media to get some clicks. Because negative emotion-inducing clickbait titles are nowadays, of course, much more important than the truth, right? So we could read on CNBC, Tesla received a cease and desist letter from US agency over Model 3 safety claims. And on Consumer Reports, fads say Tesla exaggerating Model 3 crash test results. Now where does this suddenly come from?
Now interestingly, this story is already a warmed up one because the NHTSA scrutiny took place already last October, following the agency's release of the Model 3 5-star safety rating. Okay, but this was 10 months ago, so why is this story being warmed up now? Well, recently documents had been shared by the so-called transparency group PlainSite, which was able to access both the NHTSA's cease and desist letter to Tesla, as well as Tesla's response to the agency, thanks to a Freedom of Information Act request. Now, what is really noteworthy about this? Very noteworthy is that Tesla's response letter to this issue was not mentioned by PlainSite or by the mainstream news media.
In this response letter, Tesla basically debunked the false allegations, saying that they used NHTSA's own data when Tesla stated that the Model 3, S and X have the lowest probability of injury among all vehicles tested by the agency. Their own data. Now, even more interestingly, contrary to PlainSite's statement that Tesla was referred to the FTC for repeatedly lying about the safety of their vehicles, it appears that the NHTSA backed down from its allegations once the electric car maker explained its rationale behind its statement about Model 3 being the safest car.
So okay, this whole thing seems to have been initiated by PlainSite, but what could be the reason for this? Oh. Now this is very interesting. So maybe someone here is not entirely unbiased. So could it be that someone or more of those mysterious PlainSite affiliates holding Tesla long or short positions decided to go short on Tesla and needed some good old FUD news to drive down the stock price, to make a bit of profit, you know?
We are back at the good old anti-Tesla FUD strategy, which big hedge funds like Jim Chanos' Chemicals associates like to employ. Of course, everything nicely orchestrated with their buddies from the mainstream media. If you have missed our previous video detailing the media manipulation by big oil and hedge funds, you can just click here to have all the infos. Still, the Tesla stock didn't dip as much as they hoped for, and is of course, as we had predicted, still on the way of recovering from the low at $177 US, now trading about $230 US. So yeah, so much for this story. It's all FUD, and even more FUD.
In other news, an interesting new startup from China called Human Horizons has released specifications and pictures of a new electric SUV, which looks pretty awesome, we have to say, and also has some really insane specifications. It is called the HiPhi One and looks ultra futuristic and cool, which we of course instantly like because we are total futurism nerds. It can never be futuristic enough. And it kinda looks like a weird mixture between the Tesla Model X and the Faraday Future FF91, which unfortunately never made it to production. But the doors are a bit weird, we have to say, because if they would open like this, it could totally rain into the car. But okay, this still might change until it goes into production.
It's stated to have an insane range of 400 miles. But let's be realistic, probably not real world 400 miles, and an acceleration from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.9 seconds. Human Horizon apparently have already acquired a factory and plan to start production of the car in 2021. Let's hope that the Faraday future similar looks won't lead to a Faraday future similar fate.
And then Jay Leno, you know, the guy that used to have a late night show but now is more famous for his show Jay Leno's Garage, where he's testing different old-timers and cars, said some very cool stuff about electric cars in general and Tesla specifically, funny enough, on CNBC. Take a listen.
Electric is the future. You know, steam ran everything from 1800 to about 1911. Then the internal combustion took over from 1911 to right about now. And I predict a child born today probably has as much chance of driving in a gas car as people today have been driving a car with a stick shift. They'll still be around, there's just not many of them.
Wow.
I mean, the advantage of electricity, I have a Tesla. I've had it 3 years. I've never done anything. There's no fluids to change. There's nothing. You know, for new technologies to succeed, it can't be equal. It's got to be better. And they've sort of solved the battery problem. You can go 350 to 400 miles on a charge on a lot of electric cars now. There's no maintenance. They're faster than the gas car. So there's almost no reason to have a gas car.
Okay, we have to say we like this guy even more now. And now some good old Shanghai Gigafactory 3 news, but this time not about the factory progress itself, but more about the fact that the Gigafactory has been officially added to the Shanghai Free Trade Zone, which could prove to be very good for Tesla indeed should the trade war between the US and China escalate further.
Of course, the trade war will impact Tesla's pricing in China to some extent, no question about that. But thanks to this decision of China, the impact will probably be mitigated to some extent. To what extent exactly, and what the final pricing of the new Model 3s being built in the Gigafactory 3 by November this year will be, remains to be seen, but certainly less than without being in the Shanghai Free Trade Zone. So that's good news.
And then we also have a very interesting and cool patent from Tesla, which is pretty awesome and will reduce the cable length in cars drastically. From now 1.5 kilometers in Model 3s and 3 kilometers in Model S's and Model X's to only 100 meters. So that's a factor of 15 or 30 decrease respectively. Now this doesn't sound like a big deal first, but actually it will help to save a lot of material costs and will greatly reduce the manufacturing cost for each produced car. Therefore ultimately helping to increase Tesla's profit margin and thus Tesla's earnings.
And now news from Gigafactory 2. Wait, Giga 2? Where is that? Well, that's the one where the solar roofs are produced. Located in Buffalo, New York. Yes, Tesla also has a Gigafactory 2, and according to some reports, the ramping up of solar roof installations is now going to pick up a lot of speed. Tesla had some problems with this cool project, but now the solar roof tile production seems to be going better. And according to a tweet by Elon, it will be as high as 1,000 roofs per week by the end of 2019. Tesla currently faces a lot of delays with the solar roof installations, so we are glad to see that the production ramp up for the solar roofs seems to be going nice. The ramping up of the solar roof installations is now going to pick up a lot of speed. That's a really awesome thing, and will help to accelerate our transition to renewable energies.
And then the Megapack. Now one of these Megapacks has already been running since late 2017 in Hornsdale, Australia, helping to store the electricity created in the wind park nearby and storing it for off-peak hours where the wind is lower. Now how much storage capacity will a Megapack have, you ask? Well, 3 megawatt hours. That's 30 times the battery capacity of a Tesla Model S P100T. So we hope more and more wind parks or solar parks will install Tesla Megapacks, because it's really important, of course, to have buffer batteries to make renewable energies more efficient. And we need to transition to renewable energies because, you know, coal and oil are not so good in the long run, as we see, you know.
So what do you think? Am I making up some wild conspiracy theories here, or is this NHTSA story just quite standard FUD, anti-Tesla FUD?
I think we are totally crazy conspiracy theorists.
Anyway, if you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. And if you like this video, be sure to share it with your friends. See you next time!
Ciao!